Good evening. This is Mark Miller with Career Pivot, and we are here once again for our Monday evening office hours. And we are going to be discussing employee referrals and why they're the ticket to your next job.
Yes.
I am once again here joined with my lovely assistant, Elizabeth Rebay. And Elizabeth, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Elizabeth. I help Mark with his social media and email campaigns and a bunch of other things. I work here in Austin, Texas. So I'm happy to be here. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
And I am going to throw, I have not up to this point, throw the link to the blog post, throw it in the...
And who are you?
Heads up. Okay, hold on a second. Won't show me. I dropped the link in. There we are. And interesting, it didn't click, but whatever. And let me lock that seat down. So with that, this was based on a blog post actually I wrote over 2 years ago.
Wow.
And I wrote it right after I came back from the Career Thought Leaders Conference, where I was one of the keynote speakers. And, well, let's get started. Why don't you ask me the first question?
I went back and looked at the blog post, and there's some statistics in there. And can you tell me or explain to me the statistics in the post that makes getting referrals so important?
Yeah. The statistics, one of the speakers at Career Thought Leaders is a guy named Jerry Crispin, who's very well known in the industry, and he runs a nonprofit called Candidate Experience. And what they do is they survey, 1,000, 1,500 companies every year. And they're largely looking to improve the hiring process and the candidate experience. Mm-hmm. And every year they run the Candie survey. And the numbers in the blog post come from the 2014. What I'm going to now give you the 2015 numbers.
Okay.
And that is for every job that's posted. And remember, a lot of jobs don't get posted. There are 1,800 applicants on average. So 1,800 applicants. Okay. On average, there are 4 employee referrals. Okay. Now, what they determine on average, half the candidates will be deemed as not qualified. So you'll end up with 900 candidates. Mm-hmm. Sorry, not 1,800, 180.
Okay.
Sorry, my mind added a 0 there. So you'll end up with 90 candidates and 2 employee referrals.
Okay.
So they will interview 5 candidates, which will include the 2 employee referrals.
Pretty good odds.
So what that says is if you are qualified and you have an employee referral, the odds are incredibly good that you will get an interview. Now, the important thing is you have to be qualified.
Yeah.
Right? But so the whole idea is if you want to get an interview, go work the referral.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, what they have found is employee referrals are this is all about risk mitigation.
Yeah.
The safest hire for these companies is number 1 is a internal candidate, someone who's already working for you.
Yep.
The second safest, least risky hire is an external candidate with an internal referral, with an employee referral. So that's what they're looking for. So go get the employee referral.
Yeah. I mean, we all do that. We all make referrals for one thing or another. And why not go to somebody you know and find out who they would recommend? Save a lot of headache on your end and the tail end.
In this day and age, because so many companies don't post jobs in their sourcing, the first thing they're going to do is go to their internal candidates or their employees and say, who do you know?
Yeah.
So Let's move on to question 2.
Yeah. So another thing is, when is the right time to apply for a position when using a referral?
Okay.
When do you recommend that?
The key piece here is go for the referral first. So if you see a job posted, do not apply.
Okay.
Go start, if you know someone there, go find out first to find out whether the job posting is real. What you'll soon discover, a lot of them are not.
So why would they not be real?
The reason why is sometimes they will post the job because they want to collect resumes.
Oh, okay.
For future purposes.
Okay.
A lot of times companies, and Dell and IBM are classic at this, they will post the job because their policy says it. Oh, but by the way, they already have the candidate.
Yeah, okay.
They already know who they want.
Yeah.
I've got a client at IBM right now. She has already interviewed for a job. They finally says, yes, we're going to offer you the job, but we got to post it first.
Okay.
So she has to wait. They posted it. By the way, they only left it up 2 days.
Okay.
They got a bunch of candidates. They looked at them, and I think they're going to offer the job.
Sure. Okay.
But she's an internal. She's an IBMer.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So the first thing is if you don't know somebody there, start working your network to find somebody there, and only apply when your referral tells you to apply. Okay. So I'll use the example. Years ago, 2009, I was working at Life Size Communications. We were the few companies in the recession who was hiring. And I would get people from my job club who would call me up and say, I'm interested in this job. Will you help me? And I say, sure. And my next question is, have you applied? And they say, yes. Okay. Because you have applied, if I submit your resume, you are not an employee referral. Which also means I am not eligible for the employee referral bonus. You want to motivate someone to work for you? Now, by the way, it isn't always the fact that it's going to get you the job. I'll use the example. I was helping a guy during the recession who was applying for a job at Life Size. And so I went down, talked to the recruiter. Recruiter finally looked at his resume and passed it over to the hiring manager, only because I asked her to.
Sure. Okay.
They kicked his resume back.
Okay.
And this guy asked me why. And so I went down to the recruiter and I said, why? And he found out that he didn't have 2 skills that they were specifically looking for.
Okay.
That's valuable information.
Sure.
Right?
Well,
anytime you get kicked back, you'd like to know why.
Yeah.
That's why your referral person is so valuable.
Yep.
And so you do not apply until your candidate tells your referral tells you to apply.
Okay.
So I just recently had a client. I got him a referral in IBM, and as it turned out in IBM, they want you to put. They have it It's all in the process. When you apply, you put down your referral.
Okay.
Right. It's on the form, the online form.
Yeah.
There are other places that you're going to have to actually have your referral pass your resume in.
Okay.
Right? It's going to vary from company to company. Let your referral figure that out.
Yeah.
Because one of the things you don't want to do is jeopardize their the possibility of them getting a referral bonus.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Using your referral is good because it helps you push your resume to the top of the list, and that helps.
The whole point is once you're in there, you're going to get all this is to get you an interview.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to still shine.
You still have to shine once you get there, but all you're trying to do is short circuit the hiring process.
Yeah, exactly.
It's nothing more than that. It doesn't guarantee you a job. It just simply says I have a much higher possibility of essentially getting an interview.
Yeah. Okay, so when does using a referral not work? When does that happen?
I guess there in some very large organizations, it is absolutely frowned upon. In the old days at AMD, and I don't know how AMD is today because it's blowing up, you could not bypass the system.
Oh, okay.
Period. In fact, it was almost a scarlet across you to do that. Yeah. Or loser.
Whatever.
Yeah. And so you have to understand those organizations. The other place where it often doesn't work is in government and the university. Although it varies a lot. I had one candidate, one client who got a job literally and got in at University of Texas because of the referral.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
And so it was, but you've got, whenever you are dealing with very process-oriented business organizations, you really have to understand. So I was trying to think, someone asked me the other day about dealing with recruiters. I think it was with state government.
Okay.
And the answer is, at least here in the state of Texas, and I believe this is in most states, there is an art to filling out the application. And I don't care how good you are, if you don't fill out the application exactly the way they say. In fact, one of those organizations is the one that you deal with, which is TCEQ, Texas
Commission on Environmental
Quality.
Yeah.
In my job club, TCEQ comes in about once a quarter. And teaches how specifically to fill out their application. If you are a manager, in their case, they say you have to say you have hired, fired, and controlled compensation of an individual. And you have to use those words. And there's no way around it.
Sure.
So a referral is not necessarily going to do you any good. But outside of typically the federal, state, and local government, but again, that's one of the things you've got to go figure out.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, education is similar. In fact, one of the things I learned when I went off to be a teacher is they're very fair hiring, but boy, the hiring in schools is cliquish. If they don't know you, they will not even look at your resume.
Wow.
No matter how qualified you are, if they don't, and so particularly this is true for new teachers, which is 30-40% of all hires.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always work, but it works in almost everywhere in the private sector. Okay.
So if I used a referral and I still didn't get the job, what should I do next?
Okay. When you don't get a job, the key thing here is you want to understand. You're saying, well, why didn't I get the job? Well, the first thing is go back to your referral and say, can you do some detective work?
Okay.
And what you're real interested in is who did get the job.
Okay.
Now, hopefully your referral can help you with that. Might be able to tell you why you didn't get the job. Maybe you're lacking certain skills. Rarely will you be able to find out that what you did, if you did anything wrong. You will rarely find that out. You may find out that you lost to an internal candidate.
Yep.
Tough luck. You're going to lose if you're going to lose to an internal candidate. If an internal candidate is of equally qualified, you will lose every time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, is one of the key pieces here is to watch LinkedIn and see who actually did get the job by paying attention to LinkedIn.
Sure.
And that can tell you a lot, because then you can start looking at their LinkedIn profile and find out, okay, what did they have that I didn't?
Yeah.
What were they looking for? And what I always tell people is, when you find that person, connect to them.
Yep. Exactly.
The reason why is, let's say that it's a product manager or a project manager or something. What you want to know is, okay, they got the job.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know the next time they have an open position.
Yeah.
And all you really, you want to be considered the next time. If you've got an interview.
Yeah, exactly.
So why don't you read George? George wrote a comment there.
So George is sent us a comment, and he says, yes, but is there really such a pool of truly qualified candidates that these organizations with such strict policies around hiring aren't shooting themselves in the foot? Truly qualified being all caps. Yeah. So that's a good question.
Okay. George, you are getting illogical. Stop that. A lot of hiring is not logical.
Of course. No, it's not. It's very emotional.
So for example, I sat down with Gary O'Neill the one day, he runs things in the recruiting side at Austin HR. And he says that, people follow what he called the QIA process. They're looking for a set of candidates that are qualified.
Yep.
And what they're doing is they're searching LinkedIn based on keywords and looking for enough qualified candidates. So, okay, is that a really accurate way of finding the right pool? The answer is, it's probably okay. Depending on how well your best candidate may have a lousy LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
Right. Then I stands for interested. So what they're doing is they find the pool of something under 200 people, and they will start reaching out to people and going, hey, Elizabeth, calls you up. Hey, Elizabeth, I'm a recruiter for XYZ company. We have a new position. Are you interested in talking to me? And who knows? You might have a migraine that day.
Sure.
And you may go, nah, not today. Right? If you're like me, if my only phone is a cell phone, and I get bunches of calls every day from robocalls, right? I don't answer them.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't answer them. And so if someone doesn't answer your phone, who knows? The recruiter may not leave a message, may leave a very lousy message. You may hear the first part and hang up. I mean, it's the interested part is inaccurate.
Yeah.
And then so Q, qualified, interested, and then A is available.
Yep.
Again, all three of those are fraught with errors. So when they're out looking and sourcing candidates, are they going to find the best candidate? Probably not.
No.
Right? And again, a lot of recruiting today is done. It's broken, and that's why part of this is employee referrals is part of my targeted job search, which says, okay, you as a employee, you solve certain problems. Okay, clearly define the problems that you solve. And then start determining what companies have those problems.
Yep.
Then you can build a target list, and I always recommend, target list of 20, 25, 30 companies. and say, start reaching out to people at these companies and says, okay, who's there?
Yeah, I know who can
right.
help you.
And the idea is to constantly be working on the relationships at these different businesses. So when they do have a job, they go, hey, Elizabeth, you interested? Right?
Yeah.
And the idea is you're always playing the game of saying, okay, I want them to call me when they have a job.
Kind of turn the tables, put yourself in the driver's seat.
And the idea is, if I know, like here in Austin, and let's say I'm a training and developer guy. I know there are probably I can pick 20 or 25 companies in the startup community that have that need. I can start meeting and start reaching out to everyone. And so therefore, when they have position, I'm a known quantity.
Yep.
I'm just not a resume being passed in.
Yeah.
And it's flipping the tables. And I'm listening to a book by Lou Adler on the hiring process, and this is what he advocates: is always finding the companies that are capable of hiring you. And again, you do not care whether they have a job right now.
Yeah.
You're more interested is, are they capable of hiring you? And Elizabeth is a classic example. She's been approached by several companies that she didn't either know existed or didn't know that they had those problems. And it kind of opened up your own thinking.
Yeah.
It opened up mine.
Yeah.
As to, okay, one of the key aspects is, one of the things we have here in Austin is we have a lot of companies that are here that you have no idea that are here. And again, that's a whole nother story on LinkedIn, but going out and searching and looking for, I like to say, people who look, smell, and taste like me. If I can find people who look, smell, and taste like me, who are in my geography, then I can look to say, okay, who do they work for?
Yeah. So what kind of jobs do they have? Or
well, more importantly, number one, I want to know the companies that are capable of hiring me.
Yeah.
And what I'll do is I will find companies that I never heard of. And what we're finding here in Austin is we have a lot of companies setting up remote offices here.
Yeah.
Or we have companies that are allowing people to work remote. And they'll let people work from anywhere in the country.
Yeah.
One of the class examples is we have a growing financial software company called Q2. It's not Q2 Holdings. They got people all over the country. They're headquartered here, but they got people all over the place.
Oh, cool.
And so with that, does I see Austin up. I presume that's Teresa. I actually met Teresa on the phone the other day.
Okay. So she left. She stopped in and then she left.
She stopped in and left.
Yeah.
So
we have George and Stan.
Does anybody have any questions? I'll unlock the seat.
Type in a question.
And if anybody wants to type in a question, I'm trying to close the employee referrals. If anybody wants to join in. George says he didn't have any questions. I'm going to let Stan the man come in.
Okay.
I got stung on one of those not a real job things.
What's that?
I got stung with one of those not a real job applications one time. They found me on LinkedIn. It was for a teaching position at the local community college.
Yep.
And I spent a lot of time preparing a presentation and this and that and the other thing, and drove there. It was a ways off for me. And I went there, and it soon became apparent they had no interest in me.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of canned questions, and the head of the department didn't show up for the presentation until I was 5 or 10 minutes into it.
Yeah.
And then he spent time reading a newspaper and looking through a couple file folders. Then he looked out the window for a while.
Now, how long ago was this?
Oh, this was, let's see, I was still in my old place, about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, I had one client who was 67 years old, and he went down for a group interview with a fast food organization headquartered in San Antonio. You can figure that out.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he showed up for this group interview, and they took one look at him and they shortened the interview.
Wow.
I mean, it was blatant age discrimination. It was just blatant. And, what can you do about it?
Yeah.
So, by the way, I'm working right now on a blog post on ageism. So,
good.
So, yeah.
And I've also got a comment on referrals. It's how I got the job at Yum Brands. I was referred, and so was another guy, another network admin. And we found out when we finally met. I didn't know the fellow. He was in the cohort ahead of me, and the department head was asked to submit 2 people, and we were the 2, and we each had a 15-minute phone interview, which was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But that's another story. And we both got hired without a face-to-face interview or any sort of follow-up.
Yep. No, there's no, particularly for things like tech positions, where they really want to know, do you know your stuff? And when they particularly need to bring in somebody fast, your most reliable person is someone saying, yes, this guy can do it. Okay. So
that makes sense.
It does. It makes total sense. So we are almost at half an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. Thanks for coming in, Stan.
Yep. Thanks, Stan.
And so if you are seeing this on YouTube or on the Career Pivot blog, please give me a comment. And if you're on YouTube, give me a thumbs up. Sorry, 1 thumbs up.
Yep.
But give me a comment. And I said this will be posted on the Career Pivot blog on Thursday. Hopefully I'll have it up tomorrow morning on YouTube. On Tuesday mornings is when I usually get it up. And with that, we'll see you next week.
No, we won't. Next week is Memorial.
Oh, that's right. Next week we're taking.
Go ahead.
We're taking Memorial Day off, and I believe the following week we are going to talk about authenticity and being an authentic person at work. And I'm going to give you lots of examples of where people are not authentic, including myself. I am a closet introvert. And so with that, we'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right. Have a great Memorial Day. Talk to you soon.